The desert of Coraththuan stretched endlessly under a pale violet sky, its dunes shimmering as if dusted with powdered starlight. Obsidian towers rose out of the sand like fossilized memories, carved with lines so ancient they resembled fractures more than markings. Wind moved between them in long, low hums, carrying vibrations that felt less like sound and more like the planet itself thinking. The world breathed in slow pulses, exhaling the remnants of civilizations older than recorded time. Dr. Alara Miles stepped off the shuttle ramp with a reverent stillness. Her boots pressed into the dark sand, sinking slightly as though the ground examined her tread. The air tasted metallic, tinged with ozone from countless forgotten storms. She pulled her hood tighter, partly for protection against the dry wind, partly out of instinctive respect. When humanity first learned of Coraththuan, diplomatic guidelines warned, treat the planet as if it is conscious. And here, walking across its shimmering surface, Alara understood why. She paused at the base of the nearest tower. Its smooth surface mirrored her reflection, brown eyes sharp behind rectangular lenses, hair tied in a tight braid to keep it from whipping across her face. Her expression carried the weight of purpose and quiet anxiety. She whispered under her breath, "Let this be worth the risk." A soft tremor moved through the sand. Alara straightened. That wasn't the wind. Moments later, silhouettes emerged from the haze, tall crystalline beings whose bodies bent sunlight into prismatic flickers. The ancient keepers moved carefully, every step resonating with faint harmonics. Their towering forms shifted in gradients of pale blue and silver, as though sculpted from liquid crystal frozen mid-flow. The leading keeper stopped a few feet from her. The air vibrated with a deep chord that flickered through her mind like a half-remembered dream. The being's voice was not spoken, it was felt. "Welcome, human of memory." Alara bowed slightly. "I'm honored to be allowed here." A ripple rolled across the keeper's crystalline body, like a nod. "The vault called for you." "None other." She swallowed. That line had been in the transmission Earth received weeks ago, a message the keepers rarely sent to anyone. The last time they summoned someone, it led to the exposure of the Varuan extinction cycle. Alara, a xenohistorian whose life revolved around decoding ancient warnings, had volunteered immediately. She followed the three keepers through a narrow passage between obsidian towers. The sound changed as they walked. Soft whispers rose from the stone, brushing against her ears like distant voices. She glanced sideways and swore she saw faint figures moving across the black surface, echoes trapped in the material. The keeper beside her murmured, "Coraththuan remembers all who spoke upon it." "You mean memories, stored physically?" she asked. "Not stored. Enduring." They approached a structure half buried in the sand, a massive arch carved into a cluster of black pillars fused together. Sigils shimmered across its surface, glowing and fading like fireflies pulsing in sequence. The leading keeper extended a crystalline limb, pressing it against an indentation in the arch. The sigils brightened, then folded inward like a mechanical iris. A deep rumble reverberated through the ground as the entrance descended, revealing a stairway spiraling downward. Alara felt her pulse quicken. "This is the Vault of Remembrance." "Yes." "The first layer." "And the message we received, it came from inside?" The keeper's body dimmed slightly, a sign of unease. "A warning surfaced. You must see it." She stepped downward. The stairway walls glimmered with faint carvings, each etched so deeply they seemed part of the planet's bones. The air cooled as she moved deeper, becoming heavy with pressure reminiscent of diving underwater. Each breath felt weighted by history. The chamber at the bottom was enormous, circular, domed, lit by pale silver light dripping from crystalline veins in the ceiling. Suspended at the center floated a cluster of holographic fractals, spirals, nodes, shifting diagrams that rearranged themselves whenever she blinked. Below them hovered glyphs in slow orbit like ancient satellites. Alara approached slowly. "This is all Ancient One language?" "Fragments." "And this recently changed?" "Yes." "After humans reached the frontier beyond Teruan's sector, the vault awakened." Her heart thudded. "Why humans? Why now?" The keepers remained silent. Their bodies dimmed again, a ripple of subdued concern. She raised the translation slate, allowing the glyph's spectral imprints to register. Her device flickered violently, nearly overloading. Stronger than predicted, she muttered. She adjusted filters, letting only partial layers through. The fractals rotated in response, accommodating her method. Words began forming across the display. Her eyes narrowed. The species who arrives late, but grows fastest. The sentence shifted into new patterns. The species whose emotional duality eclipses logic or fear. Another shift. The anomaly that shapes or shatters the cycle. Cold prickled her spine. This is describing a species unlike any recorded before. A keeper leaned closer, lowering its resonance to a softer pitch. Continue. Elara stabilized the flow of translation. More lines formed. The cycle ends when fear guides judgment. Those who strike first ignite their own destruction. Her breath caught. This isn't a threat against the anomaly, she whispered. It's a threat against those who act out of fear toward it. The glyphs pulsed as if affirming her interpretation. She stepped back, shaken. This matches humanity far too closely. Rapid growth, emotional extremes, unpredictable adaptation. The vaulted chamber trembled faintly. The fractals flashed bright, projecting a sequence of images: civilizations in flames, star systems torn apart, fleets reduced to drifting wreckage. Each sequence followed the same pattern. The moment another species tried to eliminate the anomaly, the cycle collapsed, destroying everyone. Are these past cycles? She asked. Yes. And the anomaly? Her voice wavered. Was it always the same species? The keeper's body brightened with a single flash. Always human. Her knees weakened. Humanity's ancestors, versions across parallel cycles, had appeared before, only to be destroyed by fear-driven alliances. And the result each time was total collapse? Elara steadied herself. We need to warn Earth. The keeper stepped closer, its voice vibrating through her chest. The Council already fears your kind. Then they'll misinterpret this prophecy, she said. They'll think humanity is the destroyer. They will strike first. And trigger the cycle. The chamber's vibrations grew louder, almost frantic. Elara grabbed her translator and sprinted toward the stairs. We don't have time, she said breathlessly. Earth must prepare before the Council does something catastrophic. The Keeper's final message echoed across the chamber walls, resonating like a tolling bell. Remember, human of memory, the destroyer is not your species. The destroyer is the fear of your species. Elara froze, heart pounding. Outside, Coraththuan's winds howled as if remembering 1,000 endings. And somewhere far above, in the silent cold of space, fleets were already moving. Elara emerged from the vault stairway into the blinding surface light, her breath ragged. Coraththuan's violet sky shimmered above the obsidian towers, but she no longer felt awe. A heavy urgency settled over her, the knowledge that the galaxy was drifting toward a catastrophic misunderstanding. She tapped her wrist console, opening a secure human diplomatic channel, yet static swallowed every transmission attempt. Council interference, she muttered. They're already jamming long-range bands. The keeper beside her resonated in low tones, its harmonics carrying a note of concern. We can amplify your reach. Follow. They led her to a smaller obsidian pillar cracked open by time. Inside, crystalline circuitry pulsed faintly, ancient quantum conduits that predated modern FTL tech by entire epochs. The keeper extended a limb toward the inner lattice. Light rippled outward, forming a thin bridge of energy. Step into the beam, human of memory. Speak your truth. Elara inhaled deeply and moved into the column of vibrating light. Her console reactivated, the static fading. A distorted hologram appeared, fragmented at first, then coalescing into Admiral Reyes's sharp features. Elara? We received your relay ping. What's happening out there? She didn't waste a second. The ancient prophecy isn't what we assumed. It doesn't warn about us, it warns about what happens when others react to us out of fear. Every cycle ended because the anomaly species was targeted first. Reyes's jaw tightened. And you believe the anomaly refers to humanity? I don't believe it, I've confirmed it. The Keepers showed me fragments from past cycles. We've existed in multiple branches of reality. Each time, someone struck us preemptively and the entire cycle collapsed. Reyes exhaled slowly, tension sharp in her eyes. We suspected the Council might misread our rapid expansion. But if this prophecy has resurfaced now, they might already be moving fleets. They are, Elara said. You need to prepare Earth for a coordinated assault. The hologram flickered as jamming intensified, but Reyes's voice remained steady. We'll mobilize defensive forces. But Elara, our doctrine is restraint. We won't fire unless fired upon. Good, she replied. That might be what saves this cycle. Static surged again. The hologram distorted. Reyes raised her voice, trying to speak over the interference. If the Council attacks, we won't go silently. Tell the Keepers. The signal collapsed. Elara stepped out of the beam, jaw set. Council jammers are closing in. They'll shut down this entire region soon. The Keeper's resonance dimmed. We fear you are correct. Before she could respond, a sudden shockwave rolled across the desert, ruffling her clothes. She looked up. In the distant sky, faint streaks of light flickered, ships entering short-range warp near the planet's orbit. Council scouts? She whispered. They want to know who you're talking to. The Keepers exchanged a harmonic sequence that felt like distress. Time is thinning. You must hear the second message. But I already read the first layer. Isn't that enough? The first warns. The second reveals. Something in their tone unsettled her. Then show me. They guided her deeper into the complex, past shattered pillars and collapsed passages that hummed with dormant energy. They reached a circular chamber hidden beneath a broken slab. The moment she entered, light spiraled up from the floor, scanning her presence with a warm, tingling sensation. The Keeper lowered its tone to a hushed chord. Only humans can unlock this layer. Elara approached the central crystal, an irregular obelisk emitting soft white pulses. She pressed her palm to its surface. Instantly, a cascade of imagery flooded her mind, nebulae twisting into vortices, starfields distorting, memories of countless civilizations rising and falling. She saw multiple timelines, different human expansions across different eras, all ending the same way, alliances turning against humanity first. The images hurt, as though they were carved into her consciousness. She staggered. These are our past selves. Echoes of cycles broken. The visions shifted. She saw humans shielding weaker species, ending conflicts, redirecting apocalyptic weapons. Each version of humanity grew differently, but one truth remained: their empathy made them healers. Their wrath made them unstoppable in defense. A duality unmatched by any known race. Then came the final lines of prophecy, spoken in a voice older than stars, resonant and sorrowful. If they fear the humans, fire consumes all. If they trust the humans, the cycle ends. Elara's breath caught. That's the missing segment, she whispered. The Council only saw the fear half. Zethar thinks eliminating us preserves the galaxy. Your Chancellor seeks control, not understanding, the Keeper intoned. He cannot hear the full message. Only you can reveal it. Elara steadied herself, wiping the sweat from her forehead. I need to get to the Council. They won't listen to transmissions. They'll shut every channel before I speak. The Keeper extended a crystalline shard, shimmering with blue light. This key leads to the heart of the Orion Citadel. A single use. Ancient transit, beyond their jammers. Her pulse quickened. Teleportation? Transition, the Keeper corrected. It bypasses space entirely. Elara accepted the shard carefully. The surface felt warm, almost alive. Thank you. But once I arrive, they'll try to detain me. Then speak before they silence you. A rumble shook the chamber. Dust cascaded from the ceiling. Elara looked upward sharply. What was that? The Keeper listened, bodies shifting in subtle tremors. The scouts have fired on our shields. They are afraid of what you have learned. Elara clenched her fists. I can't let this turn into another cycle. She activated the shard. Light erupted around her, forming a sphere of gentle pressure. The keepers stepped back, their bodies refracting the beam. Human of memory, the lead keeper said, voice resonating through her bones. Your species decides the path. Warn them. The sphere brightened. The chamber dissolved. For a moment, she sensed everything at once: the archives, the desert winds, the distant hum of council ships, the pressure of ancient judgment pressing on her shoulders. Then the world snapped into a tunnel of blinding brilliance. Just as the jump triggered, she heard the keeper's final whisper through the collapsing light. Truth survives only if you do. A last tremor shook Coraththuan. Above the surface, the sky split with the arrival of more council vessels. The cycle was accelerating, and Elara was hurtling toward the one place where her voice might stop it. Toward the council. Toward the heart of fear itself. Light collapsed around Elara as the ancient transit completed. The pressure vanished, replaced by cold metallic air and the distant echo of alarms. She staggered forward, boots clanging on polished alloy. When her vision cleared, she found herself standing in the Orion Council's central chamber, a sprawling amphitheater suspended above a sea of drifting starlight. Guards reacted instantly. Identify yourself, one barked, raising a plasma halberd. Elara held up both hands. Dr. Elara Miles, Human Diplomatic Corps. I carry a direct message from the keepers of Coraththuan. A ripple of outrage surged through the rows of delegates. Murmurs filled the chamber. Many stood, astonished she had bypassed their security entirely. Others eyed her with suspicion, whispering about human technology that supposedly rivaled council systems. High Chancellor Zether rose slowly from his elevated platform. His towering form cast a sharp shadow across the chamber floor. How did you enter this sanctum? His voice was composed, but the edges trembled with anger. Through transit technology older than your council, Elara replied. Your scouts attacked Coraththuan. The keepers intervened. She stepped forward, unwavering. I've come because the prophecy you've been studying is incomplete. Zether's eyes narrowed. Remove her. Guards advanced, but Elara activated the crystalline shard. It emitted a pulse of soft blue light that washed over the chamber. The guards froze mid-step, wide-eyed, as the projection spread across the air, fractals forming, ancient glyphs illuminating every surface. Delegates gasped. Zether's composure cracked. What have you done? Shown them the truth, Elara said. The projection expanded, enveloping the chamber like a dome of memories. Images bloomed, civilizations burning, alliances fracturing, fleets torn apart by wars they initiated out of fear. Scenes shifted through timelines, each one repeating the same mistake. The moment they perceived humanity as a threat, they struck first. And each time, the cycle collapsed into mutual destruction. Elara looked directly at the assembly. The prophecy never warned that humans end the cycle. It warned that fear of humans destroys the cycle. Several delegates flinched as the images intensified. They watched their own ancestral empires perish in earlier cycles, endings buried by time, erased from collective memory, but preserved by the ancient ones. A soft, horrified voice rose from the Alvori delegate. We caused it. Yes, Elara said. Every cycle ended because someone believed humanity might destroy them. That fear started the fire, not the anomaly species. Zether slammed his fist on the platform. Lies. Fabrications. This is human manipulation. Elara raised her voice over his. The Ancient Ones encoded the final line of the prophecy for humans alone. You never had access to it. You weaponize fragments without context. The projection dimmed slightly as a single phrase materialized across the chamber in luminous glyphs. If they fear the humans, fire consumes all. If they trust the humans, the cycle ends. A heavy silence settled. Zether broke it with a furious snarl. This is precisely why humanity must be contained. Look how effortlessly she infiltrated our chamber. Look at the power she wields. Do you not see the danger? Elara shook her head. What you see as danger is what the Ancient Ones saw as potential. Humanity adapts quickly because we are driven by empathy and resilience. We defend fiercely because we learn survival through hardship. But we do not strike first. A new alarm blared. The chamber lights flickered. A holographic display ignited above the Chancellor's dais, an urgent transmission from the Orion First Armada. A commander appeared, face pale. Chancellor, we have reached the outer boundary of the Sol system. Human fleets are forming defensive walls. They are not engaging, but their dreadnoughts are powered and ready. Proceed, Zethar ordered. Issue the first strike. Gasps erupted around the chamber. Elara stepped forward. If you fire, the cycle ends here. The Ancient Ones predicted this precise moment. Zethar raised his voice. My order stands! Before he could finish, the chamber shook. A deep tremor surged through the entire citadel. Delegates clutched their seats. Lights flickered violently. A low harmonic resonance filled the air, familiar to Elara, terrifying to the council. The keepers had awakened. Across the panoramic viewports, the void shimmered. Threads of radiant energy snaked across space, converging into a wave of vibrant light that engulfed the citadel. The resonance wasn't sound, it was emotion woven into frequency. Every being felt it settle into their minds like a forgotten memory resurfacing. The Avori delegate collapsed to her knees. The Ancient Ones? Elara steadied herself. She recognized the signature. It was the same vibration she had felt in the lower vaults. The wave intensified, transmitting a message directly into the minds of every council member. Fear ends the cycle. Delegates gasped and clutched their temples as visions poured into them, the same catastrophic timelines Elara had witnessed. They saw humanity shielding other species, sacrificing themselves to halt extinction events, offering aid to civilizations that had once hunted them. They saw humanity's empathy as clearly as their wrath, both sides necessary. Trust breaks it. Zethar staggered, overwhelmed. The pulse exposed his true motivations. Flashes of his past appeared in the projection, his homeworld once annihilated by an anomaly species in a previous cycle. The trauma lived in him like a scar he never confessed. Stop, he whispered, trembling. Stop showing them that. The Keeper's message focused directly on him. Your fear recreates the end you survived. Zethar fell to his knees, defeated by the truth. The council chamber erupted into debate, desperate, frightened, but no longer blind. Dozens of species now understood the prophecy in full. Elara spoke calmly. Humanity stands ready to defend itself. But we will not attack you. If you recall your armada now, there is still time. Counselor Verdis, representing the scaled Akrath, rose. I motion to suspend Zethar's authority and recall all fleets. A chorus of agreements followed. The chamber's central console flickered. A mass override command was sent across the network. The Orion First Armada received the recall order seconds before committing to the strike. In the distant hologram, the Armada commander exhaled in relief. Order acknowledged. All ships standing down. Elara closed her eyes, tension melting from her shoulders. As the emergency feed shut down, Admiral Reyes appeared on a direct channel, her expression composed. We detected their shift. We held fire. Elara smiled faintly. You made the choice that breaks the cycle. And now? Reyes asked. Before Elara could respond, the Keeper's final message reverberated through the citadel. The cycle is broken. The humans choose peace. The galaxy must choose with them. The projections faded. The chamber steadied. Delegates watched Elara not with fear, but with gratitude and dawning respect. She inhaled deeply, letting the weight of countless cycles lift. The Ancient Ones were finally silent. And the galaxy, for the first time in ages, had a future shaped not by fear, but by choice.